In the depths of space, a strange signal had been detected by the Zorvathian Empire's advanced surveillance network. It was a faint energy signature, unlike anything they had ever seen before. The Empire's scientists and strategists gathered around the holographic display projecting the data, their antennae twitching with excitement. "This is not from any known civilization," declared the lead scientist, her mandibles clicking in emphasis. "It appears to be some sort of propulsion system." The Zorvathian Emperor, Xarxes the Unyielding, entered the room, his piercing gaze sweeping over the assembly. He was a towering figure, with scaly skin that shifted between shades of indigo and purple depending on his mood. "Explain this anomaly to me," he commanded, his voice like thunder in the silent chamber. The lead scientist began her explanation once more, but Xarxes' attention wandered as he scanned the room. His eyes settled on a younger, inexperienced officer who seemed particularly fascinated by the data display. "You Zorvath Sil," the Emperor said, pointing a clawed finger at the officer. "What do you make of this signal?" Zorvath Chill swallowed hard, his antenna wobbling slightly as he spoke. I believe it may be an exploratory vessel from a previously unknown species, Your Majesty." The room fell silent, and Xarxes' gaze lingered on the young officer. He seemed to sense a glimmer of intuition in Zorvath Sil's words. "Summon our scout vessels," the Emperor decreed. "We will investigate this anomaly, prepare for possible first contact with an alien species." Thus began the great expedition, as the Zorvathian Empire dispatched its most advanced ships to intercept and engage with the unknown vessel. After weeks of traversing the vast expanse of space, the scout vessels finally detected a massive ship on the edge of their sensor range. The alien warship, christened Voyager's Hope by humanity, loomed before them like a ghostly behemoth. Its sleek design defied Zorvathian understanding of propulsion technology. It seemed to be propelled not by energy or mass, but by some sort of momentum. As the Zorvathian ships closed in for observation, they detected strange activity emanating from the alien vessel. There were explosions, screams of the dying, and an eerie silence that hung over the entire scene like a shroud. The Zorvathians had never seen anything like this before. Their scouts exchanged worried glances as they watched the human warship engage in a brutal, chaotic battle against some unseen enemy. "This is not exploration," declared Xarxes' voice, echoing through the comm system as he addressed his commanders. "This is savagery." The Zorvathian Empire's first encounter with humanity had left them stunned and bewildered. They watched in a mix of fascination and horror as Voyager's Hope emerged victorious from the battle-scared landscape. In a moment that would be etched into Zorvathian history forever, an alien warship commander named Admiral Rachel Lee stood on the bridge of Voyager's Hope, surveying the aftermath of her ship's brutal victory. Her eyes narrowed behind her visor as she watched the approaching Zorvathian ships. "Well, it looks like we've got some visitors," she said dryly to her second-in-command, a grizzled veteran named Commander Michael Jenkins. "Admiral," he replied, his voice tinged with concern. "Do you think they'll want to talk?" Rachel smiled grimly, a glint in her eye that spoke of the unspoken rules of war. "I don't know what they speak," she said, "but I'm sure we can find a way to communicate, or perhaps make it clear why our species is superior." As Voyager's Hope and its crew stood ready to face this intergalactic encounter, Xarxes' voice boomed once more through the comm system. "We have made contact with an alien species," he declared. "We will observe their behavior, learn from them, and be prepared for any eventuality. This is a historic moment for our empire." The Zorvathian Empire's first encounter with humanity had left its mark on both civilizations. It would take centuries of struggle, discovery, and conflict to unravel the mysteries hidden within the depths of space. But one thing was certain: nothing would ever be the same again. As Voyager's Hope drew closer to the Zorvathian warships, its guns at the ready, a new era of interstellar politics had begun. The age of the alien Armada and the human warship had dawned, with all its promise and peril. The Zorvathians watched in awe as Voyager's Hope docked at their massive space station, its hull scared but still radiating an aura of power. Admiral Rachel Lee and her crew stepped out onto the platform, their footsteps echoing through the vast chamber. Xarxes the Unyielding awaited them on the upper level of the station, his throne room aglow with a deep blue light that seemed to pulse in time with the Zorvathian heartbeat. "Greetings, Admiral Lee," he declared, his voice booming across the platform. "I am Xarxes, Emperor of the Zorvathian Empire. We have been observing your species for some time now." Rachel approached the throne, her eyes scanning the assembly below. She spotted a cluster of senior officers, their antennae twitching with curiosity. "I'm Admiral Rachel Lee," she replied, her voice firm but measured. "Commander-in-Chief of the United Earth Space Forces Fleet. We've been tracking an anomaly in this sector. We're here to determine its origin." Xarxes nodded thoughtfully, his mandibles clicking in interest. "The anomaly you detected is indeed our scouting vessel, seeking out new life and civilizations. But we see that your ship has been engaged in a battle against some unknown foe. Tell me, Admiral Lee, what drives the aggression of your species? Rachel hesitated for a moment before responding. She knew that her people's history was marked by conflict, but she also understood that they had evolved from a tribal society to a global power through cooperation and mutual respect. We've been at war, she began, but it's not about expansion or dominance. We fight to protect our worlds, our families, our way of life. The enemy you saw is an alien force, one that has been terrorizing the galaxy for centuries. Arsaxes listened as Rachel recounted the history of humanity's struggle against the Teneth, a reptilian empire with technology rivaling their own. We have watched your species, he said, his voice heavy with emotion. We saw you struggling to survive on a dying planet, and yet, we see something more in you than mere survival instincts. We see resilience, determination, and hope. Rachel felt a shiver run down her spine as she realized the implications of Zarxos' words. You see us as potential allies, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Zarxos nodded gravely. We have observed many civilizations throughout our history. We have seen species rise and fall consumed by their own ambition or ignorance. But you, Admiral Lee, your people show signs of greatness. Greatness that can be forged through cooperation and mutual understanding. Rachel smiled, a spark of hope igniting within her. I think we can learn from each other, she said, extending a hand in friendship. Zarxos accepted the gesture, his claws closing around Rachel's hand like a vice. Let us begin our new alliance, he declared. Together, we will face the challenges that lie ahead and perhaps forge a brighter future for all. As the two leaders sealed their pact, the Zorvathian Empire's assembly erupted into cheers, while Voyager's Hope's crew looked on in awe at this momentous shift in interstellar politics. But as they celebrated this newfound bond between species, there were whispers of unease among the shadows. Whispers that spoke of dark secrets hidden within the depths of space, and the true nature of Zarxos' intentions. In a hidden chamber beneath the throne room, a group of Zorvathian advisors exchanged worried glances. Greatness, one of them whispered, is not always what it seems. Have we made a pact with our own doom? Their words were lost in the celebration above, but they hinted at the beginning of a new era, an era where power, struggles, and ancient enmities would come to light, challenging the fragile alliance forged between the Zorvathian Empire and humanity. The age of cooperation had dawned, but with it came a darkness that threatened to consume them all. As the days passed, the alliance between the Zorvathians and humans grew stronger. Admiral Rachel Lee and Emperor Zarxos worked tirelessly to establish diplomatic channels, trade agreements, and mutual defense pacts. Voyager's Hope became a symbol of hope for both species, a beacon of cooperation in a galaxy fraught with conflict. The human warship was refurbished and refitted with Zorvathian technology, becoming one of the most advanced vessels in the galaxy. But not everyone shared the enthusiasm for this new alliance. In the shadows, dissenting voices whispered among the Zorvathian nobles and military leaders. They saw the partnership as a threat to their empire's dominance, a betrayal of their ancient traditions. One such voice belonged to Lord Arcturus, a seasoned warrior and one of Zarxos' most trusted advisors. He had fought in countless battles against alien foes, and his scars told the story of a life spent in service to the Empire. Arcturus met with Rachel Lee on several occasions, his intentions unclear. Was he genuinely interested in understanding human culture, or did he seek to undermine their fragile alliance? Rachel was wary of Arcturus's motives, but she saw an opportunity to build trust and foster cooperation between their nations. She invited him to join her on a tour of the galaxy, to witness firsthand the struggles faced by humanity. As they traveled through the cosmos, Rachel shared with Arcturus the stories of human suffering, wars, famines, and plagues that had almost consumed them all. She spoke of the resilience of her people, their capacity for compassion, and their determination to survive against all odds. Arcturus listened intently, his eyes narrowing as he absorbed these lessons. For the first time in his life, he began to question the true nature of war and the Empire's role in the galaxy. We have been blinded by our own ambition, Arcturus confided in Rachel during one of their conversations. We see only the power struggles between nations, but what lies beyond? Can we not strive for more? Rachel smiled, sensing a glimmer of hope within the aged warrior. Perhaps, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. But to achieve greatness, we must first confront our own demons. As they approached the edge of the galaxy, their path intersected with that of an ancient civilization, the Ashkek, a species known for their wisdom and technological prowess. The Ashkek had been watching the Zorvathian Empire from afar, studying its rise to power. They saw in Rachel Lee and Emperor Zarxos a chance to forge a new path, one that would reshape the galaxy's destiny. A Shaikh ambassador emerged from the shadows, his eyes piercing as he regarded the pair. Your alliance is a beacon of hope, the ambassador said, but it also attracts attention. We have watched the Zorvathian Empire grow in power, and we sense that your partnership may soon become a focal point for rival nations. Rachel felt a shiver run down her spine as she realized the implications. "What do you propose?" she asked, her voice steady. The ex-Kite ambassador smiled, his expression enigmatic. "We offer our guidance," he said. "Together we can forge a new future, one where cooperation and mutual understanding reign supreme." As Rachel Lee pondered this offer, Arcturus's doubts resurfaced. Was this an opportunity for the Zorvathians to expand their influence? Or did it represent a threat to their very way of life? The path ahead was fraught with uncertainty, but one thing was clear: the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance, as nations and civilizations vied for power in ever-changing cosmos. Rachel Lee and Emperor Sarxus stood together on the observation deck of Voyager's Hope, gazing out at the starry expanse. The Zorvathian Empire's ambassador, Lord Arcturus, hovered nearby, his eyes fixed intently on the human commander. "We have much to consider," Rachel said, her voice carrying across the chamber. "The Kite offer is intriguing, but we must be cautious. Their true intentions are unclear." Sarxus nodded in agreement, his mandibles clicking thoughtfully. "We will not commit to any alliance without careful consideration. But I sense that this opportunity may hold more than meets the eye." Arcturus cleared his throat, his expression a mixture of curiosity and trepidation. "If I may speak, Emperor, we should not forget our own history with the Kite. They have walked among us for centuries, shaping our destiny in ways both subtle and profound." Rachel's eyes narrowed as she regarded Arcturus. She sensed that he was hiding something, but couldn't quite put her finger on it. "What do you mean?" she asked, her voice firm but measured. Arcturus hesitated before responding. "The Kite have a way of influencing those around them. They weave subtle patterns, encouraging us to make choices that ultimately serve their interests." Sarxus's expression darkened, his antennae twitching with irritation. "We cannot let fear dictate our actions," he said firmly. "We will not be swayed by whispers and half-truths. The ex-Cake ambassador has extended an offer of guidance. We will consider it carefully." Rachel nodded in agreement, her mind racing with the implications. She knew that Arcturus's words held a hint of truth, but she also sensed that he was hiding more. As they continued their discussion, a sudden commotion erupted on the bridge. A young ensign burst into the room, his face pale and frightened. "Commander Lee," the ensign exclaimed. "We're receiving a transmission from an unknown source. It's a warning." Rachel rushed to the bridge, Sarxus close behind her. Arcturus followed at a distance, his eyes fixed intently on the human commander. The message was garbled and unclear, but one phrase stood out: "Beware the devourer of worlds." Rachel felt a chill run down her spine as she gazed up at the stars. What secrets lay hidden in the cosmos? And what did this mysterious warning portend for their fragile alliance? As they struggled to decipher the meaning behind the message, Rachel realized that the fate of the galaxy hung precariously in the balance. The path ahead was fraught with danger, but one thing was clear: the choices she made would shape not just her own destiny, but that of countless civilizations yet unknown. The silence on the bridge was oppressive, punctuated only by the soft hum of the ship's engines. Rachel turned to Sarxus, her eyes locked intently on his. "We have a choice to make," she said, her voice firm and resolute. "Will we forge ahead, guided by our hopes and dreams, or will we retreat into the shadows, waiting for the unknown dangers that lurk in the darkness?" Sarx's expression was somber, but he nodded slowly in agreement. "The choice is ours," he said, his voice low and measured. "But know this: the galaxy is watching, and the consequences of our decision will echo across eternity." As the stars twinkled like diamonds against the blackness of space, Rachel Lee knew that she stood at the crossroads of history, with the fate of countless hands whirling precariously in the balance. The silence on the bridge was palpable as Rachel and Sarxus pondered their decision. Arcturus hovered nearby, his eyes fixed intently on the human commander. "We must proceed with caution," Sarxus said finally, his voice low and measured. "But we cannot allow fear to dictate our actions. We will investigate this warning and determine its authenticity." Rachel nodded in agreement. "I'll assemble a team to review the message and identify any potential threats. Lord Arcturus, I'd like you to join us. Your knowledge of escape tactics may prove invaluable." Arcturus inclined his head, a hint of a smile playing on his lips. "I am at your service, Commander." But as they began their investigation, the crew of Voyager's Hope scoured the depths of space for any clues that might lead them to the source of the warning. Meanwhile, in the shadows, an enigmatic figure watched the proceedings with great interest. Kalen Vex, a skilled intergalactic smuggler and information broker, had been tracking the Zorvathian Empire's rise to power with growing concern. Kalen had heard rumors of a hidden threat lurking in the depths of space, a being so ancient and powerful that its very existence threatened the balance of the galaxy. And now, it seemed, this warning was connected to Rachel Lee and Emperor Sarxus's fragile alliance. Intrigued by the possibilities, Kalen decided to take a closer look at the situation. He set a course for Voyager's Hope, his ship slicing through the cosmos with deadly precision. as he boarded the warship. Kalen was struck by the sense of unease that pervaded the crew. They were on edge, their usual banter and camaraderie replaced by a growing tension. Rachel Lee greeted him warmly, but her eyes betrayed a hint of concern. "Keelan, we could use someone with your unique skills. We're investigating a warning from an unknown source. Can you help us dig deeper?" Kalen nodded thoughtfully, his mind racing with possibilities. He knew that the galaxy was full of secrets and lies, but he also sensed that this was something more. "This message," he said finally, "it's not just a warning, it's a call to arms, and I think I know who might be behind it." Rachel raised an eyebrow, her eyes locked intently on Kalen's. "Who?" The smuggler smiled, a hint of mischief playing on his lips. "Ah, that would be telling. Let's just say that I have some acquaintances in the shadows, people who can help us uncover the truth." As the stars streaked past the viewscreen, Rachel Lee knew that she had just made a decision that would change the course of history. She was about to embark on a journey into the heart of darkness itself with Kalen Vex as her guide. Together, they set out to unravel the mystery of the warning, following a trail of clues that led them deeper and deeper into the unknown. But what secrets lay hidden in the shadows? And what terrors lurked in the depths of space? The galaxy was about to become a whole lot stranger and more deadly. Colin Vex led Rachel Lee through the labyrinthine corridors of Voyager's Hope, dodging crew members and navigating through narrow passageways. They finally arrived at a small, unmarked door hidden behind a maintenance panel. "This is where I come in," Kalen said with a wink. "My associates are waiting for us inside." Rachel raised an eyebrow but followed Kalen into the cramped room. Inside, they found a group of hooded figures huddled around a holographic display projected from a small console. "Well, welcome, Commander Lee," one of the figures said in a low, gravelly voice. "We've been expecting you." Rachel's eyes scanned the room, taking in the assortment of alien species and humans gathered there. She spotted a few familiar faces: Arcturus, who had joined them earlier, a Zorvathian warrior named Thruk, who had fought alongside Zarxos during the Battle of Tartarus, IV, and even a mysterious being known only as the Oracle, whose true identity was shrouded in mystery. "What's going on?" Rachel asked, her voice firm but measured. "Who are you people?" Kalen nodded toward the holographic display. "This is a gathering of individuals who have dedicated their lives to understanding and protecting the galaxy from hidden threats." The Oracle spoke up, its voice like a gentle breeze through dry leaves. "We've been tracking a phenomenon, Commander Lee. A being so ancient, it predates even our own civilization. We call it the Devourer of Worlds." Rachel's eyes widened as she took in the implications. "What does it do?" Arcturus stepped forward, his voice filled with an air of gravitas. "The Devourer feeds on the very fabric of space-time itself. It devours entire galaxies, leaving nothing but desolate husks in its wake." Throk's massive frame flexed with a fierce growl. "We've encountered it before and we know what it can do. We must stop it before it's too late." Rachel felt the weight of their words settle upon her shoulders. She knew that she had to make a decision, one that would determine the fate of countless civilizations. "I'm listening," she said finally. "What do you propose we do?" The Oracle spoke up once more, its voice tinged with a hint of sadness. "We have reason to believe that the Devourer is connected to an ancient artifact hidden deep within the SCIFI homeworld. If we can retrieve it before the Devourer finds us, there may be hope." Rachel nodded resolutely. "Then let's do it. We'll assemble a team and head for the SCIFI homeworld. But I need to know, what are the risks?" And Kalen leaned in close, his eyes locked intently on Rachel's. "The risk is everything, Commander Lee. The Devourer will stop at nothing to claim its next meal. We're talking about entire galaxies disappearing into the void, and us right along with them." Rachel took a deep breath, steeling herself for what lay ahead. She knew that she had made her decision, and it was going to change everything. "Let's move out," she said finally. "We've got an artifact to find and a Devourer to stop.